Welcome to California Bar Prep, your study companion for the California Bar exam. In this lesson, Criminal Law and Procedure Overview, Crimes, Defenses, and Rights. Let's begin. Criminal law and procedure combines two subjects. Substantive criminal law asks whether the defendant committed a crime and has a defense. Criminal procedure asks whether the government violated constitutional rules in investigating, charging, or trying the defendant. On the MBE, use majority common law principles as modernized by statute where commonly tested and federal constitutional rules for procedure. California essays may test California crimes, murder distinctions, and state constitutional procedure, but the MBE baseline is common law plus federal constitutional doctrine. Analyze in sequence. Act, mental state, causation if needed, concurrence, offense elements, defenses, then constitutional issues. Do not jump to a defense before proving the crime. Act. Criminal liability usually requires a voluntary act or a legal omission. Reflexes, seizures, and unconscious movements are not voluntary acts. An omission creates liability only when there is a legal duty to act, such as statute, contract, relationship, voluntary assumption of care, creation of peril, or landowner duty. Mental states. Common law crimes often use specific intent, malice, general intent, or strict liability. Modern statutes may use purposely, knowingly, recklessly, and negligently. Specific intent. Specific intent crimes require a particular purpose or objective beyond the act. Examples include burglary, larceny, robbery, forgery, false pretenses, embezzlement, solicitation, conspiracy, attempt, and first-degree premeditated murder. Malice. Common law malice applies to murder and arson. It generally requires reckless disregard of an obvious or high risk. Strict liability. Strict liability offenses require no mens rea as to at least one element, often public welfare offenses or statutory rape. Serious crimes usually require some mental state unless the statute clearly says otherwise. Murder. Common law murder is the unlawful killing of another human being with malice aforethought. Malice may be intent to kill, intent to inflict serious bodily harm, depraved heart recklessness, or felony murder. First-degree murder. Statutory first-degree murder commonly includes premeditated and deliberate killings and felony murder based on listed dangerous felonies. Premeditation can occur quickly, but requires reflection, not mere impulse. Voluntary manslaughter. Voluntary manslaughter is an intentional killing mitigated by adequate provocation or imperfect self-defense in some jurisdictions. Provocation must be legally adequate, actually provoke the defendant, occur before reasonable cooling time, and cause the killing. Involuntary manslaughter. Involuntary manslaughter is an unintentional killing caused by criminal negligence or during commission of an unlawful act not amounting to felony murder. Felony murder. Felony murder imposes murder liability for deaths caused during certain felonies. Limitations include the felony must be inherently dangerous, independent of the killing, and the death must occur during the felony or immediate flight. Agency and proximate cause approaches differ for killings by non-felons. Larceny. Larceny is trespassery taking and carrying away of personal property of another with intent to permanently deprive. Embezzlement. Embezzlement is fraudulent conversion of property by one already in lawful possession. False pretenses. False pretenses is obtaining title to property by intentional false statement of past or existing fact with intent to defraud. Robbery. Robbery is larceny from the person or presence of another by force or intimidation. Burglary. Common law burglary is breaking and entering the dwelling of another at night with intent to commit a felony inside. Modern statutes broaden the rule, but MBE questions often test the classic elements. Arson. Common law arson is malicious burning of the dwelling of another. Modern statutes expand it to other structures. Attempt. Attempt requires specific intent to commit the target crime and a substantial step or dangerous proximity toward completion. Legal impossibility is a defense. Factual impossibility is not. Solicitation. Solicitation is asking, encouraging, or commanding another to commit a crime with intent, that the crime be committed. It is complete when the request is made. Conspiracy. Conspiracy requires an agreement and intent to achieve an unlawful objective. Many jurisdictions require an overt act, which can be minimal. Conspirators may be liable for foreseeable crimes committed by co-conspirators in furtherance of the conspiracy. Accomplice liability. An accomplice aids or encourages the principal with intent to assist and intent that the crime be committed. Mere presence is not enough unless combined with assistance or encouragement. Self-defense. Non-deadly force may be used when reasonably necessary to prevent imminent unlawful force. Deadly force requires reasonable belief of imminent death or serious bodily harm. Initial aggressors and retreat rules vary. Insanity. Tests include MNATN, irresistible impulse, MPC substantial capacity, and Durham in rare contexts. The MBE usually identifies the test or uses recognizable language. Intoxication. Voluntary intoxication may negate specific intent, but not general intent, malice, or strict liability. Involuntary intoxication may be a defense like insanity. Mistake. Mistake of fact may negate mens rea. For specific intent crimes, even unreasonable mistake can work if honest. For general intent crimes, the mistake usually must be reasonable. Mistake of law is usually no defense. Fourth Amendment. Searches and seizures must be reasonable. A search generally requires government conduct intruding on a reasonable expectation of privacy or physical trespass to obtain information. Warrants require probable cause, particularity, and a neutral magistrate, subject to exceptions. Fifth Amendment. Miranda warnings are required before custodial interrogation. A suspect may waive rights knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently. Invocation of silence or counsel triggers different rules. Sixth Amendment. The right to counsel attaches at formal charging and is offense-specific. The Confrontation Clause limits testimonial hearsay unless the witness is unavailable and the defendant had prior opportunity to cross-examine. Specific intent crimes allow more mens rea defenses than general intent crimes. Larceny, embezzlement, and false pretenses turn on possession versus title. Solicitation is complete even if the person refuses. Miranda requires custody plus interrogation, not merely police questioning. Fourth Amendment rights are personal. A defendant needs standing. Criminal questions reward element-by-element discipline. Write the crime's elements, match facts, then consider defenses. For procedure, identify the government action, the constitutional amendment, whether a right attached or was invoked, and the remedy. That's it for this lesson. Download California Bar Prep on the App Store for lessons on all 14 bar subjects, practice questions, and essay frameworks. Keep studying, and good luck on the bar exam.